Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and this week it's all about the high-speed rail. There's a lot of controversy going on about this high-speed rail. They've kind of finished their feasibility studies, and they've kind of chosen what route looks best to take between Houston and Dallas. And so we're getting some information on how consumers are feeling about this, how landowners are feeling about this, and we heard from Judge Robert Eccles in the first and second segment of the show, and really found out a lot of things about the train. It's quiet, it's not a lot of vibration, not a lot of interruption. Business owners seem to be embracing it. A lot of great things about it. And this last segment and this segment, we're talking with Ben Leman, and he is the county judge out in Grimes County. And he is representing a lot of the landowners that are taking issue with some of the things going on with this train and why it will not be beneficial for them. And is it even something that can be used for eminent domain? So we're talking with Ben again this segment. And I want to talk a little bit more about your opinion, what you really think this train's going to look like. Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Well, there's two structure types that I'm aware of that they've discussed and informed me that they're utilizing. One involves columns that supports basically like an elevated bridge, right? Okay. And that's what would be utilized in the metropolitan areas a lot. Okay. But in the areas... To get it above the current roads. Yeah, to get it above the current roads. Okay. Yeah. And so then once you get out into the transition population centers like Montgomery County, which, by the way, is still in the crosshairs, as we call it in Grimes County, for the rail facility, could still go through there, according to FRA. But in those areas and in the rural areas, you have the potential and likelihood of a different type of look. And what the end result is, you would have oversized culverts that would be utilized, maybe 14 and a half feet tall by 14 and a half feet wide, for people and oil field equipment or tractor trailers to drive through to get into their ranch roads or their homes or et cetera. And these facilities would be close enough such that they could not make it a 205 mile an hour roller coaster ride, going like this. Right, it has to be pretty smooth, pretty gradual. Yeah. Exactly. So it'd have to stay horizontal. So that means, that in between those two culverts, there would be solid earth is the option that we believe would be most likely there because it costs less, right? So you would be looking at literally 25 foot tall and in many areas mound of earth that, as I've told Judge Eccles when we met this, I called that the Great Wall of Japan. Okay. So you think it's going to be an eyesore? Absolutely. Okay. But imagine what that does to somebody's view in the Houston MTA area. On their gorgeous ranch. That's right. On their pretty ranch. They can no longer look out. There are a lot of safety issues. They would not guarantee that they would not cut off any private road or county road or just ranch road or oil field road. So as director, how can they not guarantee that, though? Don't they have to allow people to get to their land? No. Apparently not. I asked that question, and they would not guarantee, they would not do that. So there are a lot of safety concerns for first responders as you figure out how do you reroute to go to somebody's property. Then you have a tremendous devaluation of that property, not just from the nuisance of the noise of the train, but and the frequency of it every 15 minutes. Obviously, at that point, the use has been severely limited and changed and altered, but also from the remaining property. So you have an area out there where you have to have multiple access points to different areas of your ranch land, right? And so you may have a big bottom in between to where if you had one culvert there, one road, and the other one was cut off, you could no longer access your facility unless you built a huge bridge or something across your own land, right? And so that's a major concern and when you get into the agriculture use, the cost of operations now as well. I would think that with the fact that they want to build this project and they want this project to go forward, that they would be able to guarantee that everyone would be able to reach their land safely. I would imagine they're building a huge project. How could they not build an access road or some other way to get to land? I would imagine that's what they would want to try to do, but the end result is they will not guarantee that. We've been expressing that concern to our state legislators, and and they have come up with some pretty good solutions to address that, including a bill that would require the approval of any county commissioner's court before they could cut off a county road, right?
Yeah, I would think that. Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, right. You got to be able to get to your stuff. Okay, yeah. So all right, let's talk about the taxpayer subsidies and what impact is this going to have on taxpayers?
So as we talked in the first segment there, where we mentioned the financial viability of this project due to lack of just ridership perspective feasibility there, you have to ask the question, what then? What next? Once they construct this and start operating it and it fails to meet its financial obligation, what happens, right? And so the first thing is there's not one privately funded, constructed, and operated high-speed rail system in the world. It's never been done before.
They've all been built by governments.
That's right.
And then turned over to private sector later on.
Yeah, later on. The one in Japan has been turned over to private sector and operating now profitably as a private sector, but it did not incur the construction costs that were there, or all of those construction costs. So inevitably, we have a situation where we know that TxDOT is looking at high-speed rail systems between Austin and Dallas or Fort Worth, looking at another one between Austin and Houston. And so we know our state is interested in that. And so the likelihood that the state may view it as, this is an opportunity. If it does fail, we could make it whole, and it would cost the state less, right?
Because they wouldn't have incurred the construction costs.
Yeah, that's right.
Construction costs.
Yeah, kind of the flip scenario.
Right.
And so we think that's a very realistic concern and a very reasonable concern. And as a result of that, we're asking for scrutiny of the financial viability of this project up front because of that. So, TCR will not reveal their financial package to us. They won't disclose it, and I've asked for it.
And that's because it's private sector.
Yeah,
they don't have to. Okay.
And I understand that. I get that. But in the situation where they're going to utilize eminent domain and be the only company that benefits, I think we're at a new threshold.
Right.
And so to ensure that it won't do that, I think they should have to open that up.
So are you working in Austin to try to get that push through where they will have to open the books on that?
Absolutely. I'm up there quite a bit.
So this is kind of charting new territory
as well. Absolutely. This has never been done before.
Has it been done in the country at all?
There is a high-speed rail, not to this extent, up in the Northeast. It doesn't go quite this fast, for sure. But I believe it has, if I remember right, about 3 million riders. And so you see the population density up there versus down here.
Yeah.
Down here, the Houston.
We're trying to get more to use public transportation down here. It's just not something we do here.
And there's a reason why.
It's our
sprawl. Well, it's not just that. It's just not functional, right? Because we have our MTA in Houston's larger than the state of New Jersey, and to less than 5% of our population utilizes public transportation. We have public transportation. It's the bus system.
They just don't use it.
They don't use it because it's not feasible, because we're so sprawled out. We don't have the population density.
Okay, do you think that the state should take over this project?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't think it's financially viable in any way, shape, or form, whether it's private or public. In other words, the ticket sales will not cover the cost of providing the service. And in this day and age, where TxDOT had a $5 billion shortfall in their budget last year alone, or their M&O budget, that's just maintenance and operation of existing roads facilities. Yeah. If we have to further divert funds from that transportation need to put towards something that really isn't even providing a transportation solution for congestion, we're just further digging the hole further.
Yeah. Do you think if they had more exit points in the cities that would help with congestion?
You mean within the
on the rail system?
On the rail system.
You could get on and off the rail in different places within the city?
Within the city of Houston.
And in Dallas. Mm-hmm.
Well, at that point, it's not high speed. Right.
It'd be slow speed and then high speed.
And now you're really going the opposite direction, right? So you maybe you're talking about a local, having it tag in or connect into a local rail system, and the local rail system in Houston, I don't think is financially viable either.
All right. Well, we appreciate your opinion. Yep. We want to hear what you think at home. Give us a call, 281-882-8088. Let us know what you think about the high-speed rail that's proposed between Houston and Dallas, or between Dallas and Houston, wherever you live, however you look at it. But we appreciate you listening this week. That's it for this Sunday afternoon. And if you missed any of today's show, go online to HoustonRealEstateRadio.com and catch it online. Watch the videos online, because it's a lot of great information. And if you're a taxpayer, it's going to affect you one way or the other, right? All right.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. Thanks, Ben. We appreciate you coming on. We'll be right. All right. We'll see you next Sunday on Houston Real Estate Radio.